Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. This is the last night I get to drink coffee with creamer in it. So, yeah. um, yeah, so tonight was the weigh-in for the Dad Bod Challenge Thanksgiving, whatever we call it. Uh let's just call it the thing that I'm going to destroy Mexi and Josh at. Let's just call it that. The thing that the glare is going to destroy Mexi and Josh at. That's what you call it, because that's what it is. By definition, that's what it is. So you could see the scale. It's clearly you could see the scale. It clearly said 201.6, which means, and I misspoke in there. So I have to lose 20 pounds, so I have to get down to 181.6 and keep it off or lower. So yeah. Um Road King, yeah, right. Um yeah, so I can't, so part of this diet is no creamer, especially when I'm fasting. When I'm fasting, I can drink black coffee or tea or water, and that is it. But this creamer that I use, I mean, I guess I could use just like regular creamer, but I use like the French vanilla stuff, so it clearly has sugar in it. You know what I mean? Yes, Mexi too. Mexi's for sure. I haven't heard from Josh. I'm thinking Josh might have backed out. I'm thinking Josh might have. I think he might have totally backed out. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to hear from Josh, because tonight's the weigh-in, and I still haven't gotten. Did Mexi post a weigh-in video yet? Has he done that yet? Has anybody else done this yet? Probably not. I expect every mod for Josh that's in my chat right now to wait a second. Let me check something. Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah. So I have this thing because Josh has had a consistent amount of mods for a long time. So anybody who's a mod for Josh can be a mod for me. So welcome, Minx Mafia, to the team. Yeah, and since you're wrenched now for me, I expect you to. I expect you to. Absolutely. All right. So yeah, so tonight what we're gonna do, some recapping. Actually, mostly what we're gonna do is there is a second Bodycam footage release, or a release of footage from a second Bodycam, or a second release of a whatever. Different one. Same incident, different Bodycam footage. I have not watched it yet. This is gonna take a while. This is gonna be a reaction type thing because I haven't watched it yet. And so what's up, Leo? What's up, buddy? This is Leopold here. Come on. Come on. You gonna come say hi? Huh? No? Okay. Leopold's just like all up in my grill. Okay. Everybody keeps saying keto, 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 keto. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna do kind of a keto thing. I'm gonna definitely like eat as little carbs as possible, but I'm going to be doing intermittent fasting. That's definitely what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, so we're yeah, I know, Louisiana girl. That's what I'm hearing. So oh, look at that. Yes, the mods are all amazing. Absolutely. Well, anybody would lose 12 pounds in a week just eating bone broth. That can't be healthy. That can't be good for you. Anyway, so yeah, we're definitely going to go over that body cam. I had this other thing pulled up, but then like it changed, and so now it's not even what it was before. So now, okay, all right. So I'll go over a little of the timeline here. Um, So the FBI led team of investigators discovered Gabby Petito's body on September 19th at a campsite near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. The 22-year-old's family had reported her missing days, 8 days prior, after months-long cross-country road trip. After a months-long country road trip. Oh, this just keeps jumping around here. What was the timeline of Petito's travels? So the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission's Law Enforcement Division helped with the search of Brian Laundrie from Saturday, September 18th to Tuesday, September 28th, and devoted over 1,000 man hours in assisting the search. Since Tuesday of this week, FWC has been on standby and ready to assist again if requested by local or federal agencies. DeSantis press secretary Christina Pushaw told Fox News FWC resources on standby include 16 officers, 16 trucks, 4 UTVs, 3 ATVs, a buggy, and an airboat. And today, the 2 FBI agents entered the Laundrie home, and they also entered the camper, going in with a paper, coming out of the house with a paper bag. It looked like, from what I understand. And I think I heard somebody say something about a cooler, a cooler bag. So it's either one or the other or both. But I saw footage of one of the agents going into the camper, either going in or coming out. I can't even remember. But with like what looked to be like a specimen cup. So I'm wondering how much that had to do with like DNA, right? I'm wondering if they're collecting things to test DNA against her body, which I find interesting. But the thing is that the camper may be completely irrelevant, but at the same time, it would be totally irresponsible and totally negligent of the FBI to not get everything that they can out of that camper. Because, I mean, I figure that they're just trying to chip away to everything. You know, I think I try to look at, try to think of the way law enforcement gets down to the truth, right? Kind of the way Michelangelo would get down to a sculpture, right? I remember reading something one time where Michelangelo said that they said, well, how do you make something so beautiful out of just a piece of rock? He's like, I'm not making it. He was like, it was already there. I just knocked away all the pieces that were getting in my way of being able to see it. Interesting perspective to look at it. So I kind of look at law enforcement and as getting to the truth in kind of the same way. They're just eliminating everything that any possibility, eliminate it, until you get down to the actual truth and what actually is. So I'm wondering if that's exactly what's going on here. So it's just like when they question people that are close to the victim, uh, it's they're eliminating anybody to get to someone else, if that makes sense. Um, so I'm wondering what they're doing now. It could be that they are. I mean, if we're not thinking that way, and they're actually following up on a lead, uh, maybe they found something on Gabby's body, and maybe they suspect that the parents were involved in some way, shape, or form of tampering with her body at some point. Because I would imagine, I mean, why would they now? I mean, would they look for Brian's DNA on the camper? Or would would they be looking for the parents' DNA on the camper? You know what I mean? But so far, we don't have any reason to believe that Brian's parents had anything to do with anything other than hiring a lawyer and a little bit of shady behavior taking place after that. Um, there's the purchase of the phone that took place on, I believe it was September 3rd when he bought the phone. I'm not 100% sure. So when he purchased the phone, there's reports that an older woman was with him when he did it. I'm guessing that's probably his mom. I don't know, not sure. But I'm thinking that I don't know. I don't know what the parents' involvement are or is. I just know that what they're doing is completely and totally unacceptable. They should absolutely be cooperating with law enforcement. Now, there's a lot of talk, right? Let's get to the bottom of this real quick. There's a lot of talk that uh, that there's people on one side saying, okay, sure, I would absolutely lie for my son to protect him. I would do anything as a parent. I would do anything to protect my child. No matter how old he is or she is, I would do anything to protect them. Right. And then you got other people that are saying, no, you can't do that. Well, let me give you my opinion on that. First of all, the first thing that I would do if I had the means is hire my kid a lawyer. I would absolutely do that. So I'm not going to blame them for lawyering up. Now, do I think that he's guilty for lawyering up? Yes. Yes, but not just for lawyering up. It's lawyering up and then taking off and then completely and totally shutting down. That is what makes him look guilty in my eyes. And that is what makes me think that his parents are facilitating this in some way, shape, or form. I think that what they're doing is completely and totally irresponsible. I think, and I'm going to continue to elaborate because if you, I understand lawyering your kid up, getting him the best possible, but what you do is you encourage your child to face the music, to take some accountability, to I mean, and people are saying, well, because it's a moral issue, right? It's a question of teaching the kid right from wrong. Okay, yeah, there's that. There's absolutely that. But it's also an issue of practicality. If you're trying to protect your child, that is completely counterproductive in doing so. You can't say you're protecting your child and then put him in a position or help him be in a position to where the cops are going to shoot him dead if they see him, or if he tries to run, if he makes some sort of sudden movement where they get spooked in some way, shape, or form. That's not helping him. If you're helping him be in this position, and make no mistake, they are. Whether or not they helped hide him, whether or not they gave him money, whether or not they aided and abetted him, then or his escape, I should say, or his hiding and running, whether or not they did that, by not cooperating with police, they are compromising his safety. So you cannot tell me that all they're doing is protecting their kid when they're doing this, because they're putting him directly in danger. Period. And that's not even to mention anybody who recognizes him, God knows where. Somebody carrying a gun could just be like, you know how many half-cocked people are out there right now that can't stand this guy? How many of these people listen to John Walsh and are like, yeah, he should kill himself, you know? Well, I mean, but at the same time, what if those people take that like, okay, well, if he's not going to do it, I'm going to do it. You know, we got the entire country in an outrage about this case. Truth is, I've never seen anything like it. At least I've never paid close enough attention to anything like this. But the truth is, there hasn't ever been anything like this case. It's never happened where parents are just shutting down and not cooperating with anybody. Usually the parents in a situation like this are holding press conferences going, Brian, please, for your safety, we don't want anything to happen to you that doesn't need to happen to you. Please just do the right thing and turn yourself in. We haven't heard a peep from these people. So I'm shutting down any argument right now that would somehow indicate that it's okay for what they're doing and understandable what they're doing, because it's not. It's not. Not to any parent that genuinely loves their kid. I'm sorry. If you're sitting here telling me that you would shut down and not cooperate with the FBI, you would facilitate, you would help him, and I make no mistake, I do believe that they did give him a head start at the very least. I think that the reason why they reported him missing was to cover their own butts. I think that the reason why they reported him missing was so that they could say, oh, you know, he's missing, and we can get all of law enforcement to go look for him in the wrong place while we sent him the opposite direction. That's what I personally believe. I could be wrong about that, but I personally believe that. That's a Empress Plays. That's a great question. That is a great question. Why is Brian's parents not in tears? Why is Brian's mom not in tears? Because her son is missing. She has no emotions. Well, she does. She probably does have emotions. I'm not about to say that she doesn't. I don't know the woman, but I am going to say that she's not behaving consistently with somebody whose son is missing, who the whole country wants his head on a stake. You know, I mean, there's no way. This is not the behavior of parents who I mean, me personally, I think that somebody that he knows, a friend of the family, somebody who his parents trust, is probably helping him, even hiding him maybe. I think that the reason why he bought the burner phone was to be able to communicate with his family. It's too much of a coincidence. All of these are too much of a coincidence that point in the direction that his parents are helping him. That's what I believe. Now, we don't have any proof of that. But come on. Yeah, I think they know exactly where he is. I don't think that this is a question of plausible deniability on their part, that they're like, don't tell us where you're going. I think he's such a little mama's boy that his mom is insisting that you let me know wherever you are and let me know that you're okay. I want you to check in so and so many times. Like, I think that's exactly what's going on. I mean, I have no reason to believe otherwise. Otherwise, they wouldn't be behaving so irrationally, saying, you know, coming off like they're trying to protect their kid, but they're not trying to protect their kid, because by not cooperating with law enforcement, bottom line is they're putting their kid in danger. This is where you say, hey, I know you're an adult, but I'm still your parent and you need to do what I say. This is one time where you really need to listen to me. turn yourself in. Do it quietly. Do it in the most non-threatening manner. I mean, I'd be telling my son, like, make sure that if you're indoors and they're outside, you show both hands before you walk out and you scream, I am unarmed. Please don't shoot me, and walk out slowly and show that you're not a threat. Make sure you do that. Promise me, son, that you're going to do that. That is exactly how I would handle that. I mean, it just doesn't it makes no sense to me what these people are doing. It makes no sense to me that they would continue to keep this quiet and not cooperate. It's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. And then you got Dog, you know, you got Dog, he's out there. And I mean, I wonder if that's interesting to me. I wonder if Dog his existence is acting in a capacity of misdirection, right? I wonder if the FBI said, hey, let's get Dog on this because everybody's giving us crap about what we're doing. And what we don't need is a microscope on our investigation by the public. Because if you think about it, every case that gets public attention never gets public attention this much, but gets some public attention, right? Summer Wells, Heidi Broussard, Gannon Stock, all of these high profile cases, just not this high profile, but very high profile. Suzanne Morphew, very high profile cases. But the thing is, very high profile real crime cases. By the way, yeah, anybody who says true crime in my chat gets timed out. It's real crime now, okay? Because I don't like cliches. And we're separating ourselves from the traditional true crime community. They can have that. That's still true crime. What we're doing these days, this is new. This is real crime. You understand? All right. I want to thank Josh from Dot Challenge Podcast for starting that. He did that accidentally, but we're keeping it going. Hashtag real crime. Look, y'all. That's how serious I am. All right. That's how serious I am. She said, come at me, bro. She said, come at me, bro. Okay. Y'all don't get mad at me. Anyway, so what we're going to do. So, man, I'm in so much trouble for that. You have no idea how much trouble I'm in for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and man, the rest of my team is like, oh, I can't believe you just did that. We're going to go over that body cam footage, which she was so nice to send to me, by the way. Cherry, I give you all the credit for that. Just saying. I do. Hold on. Real crime. You understand me? All right, this is long, so this is going to be a while. You hear that, Cherry? This is long, so it's going to be a while. Oh, wow, Cherry can't. She can't do the Glare 2021 thing. That's a shame. It's driving her crazy. Oh, it's so trouble.
How's it going?
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, we got a call about a male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking off.
So I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up, and when she does, she swings and she had her cell phone in her hand. So I was just trying to push her away. But Gabrielle, you're talking about my fiance, right? What's that?
For fuel page medical will let us know if we need to head that way. If it's nothing more pressing, we'll stay here.
Tell me what's going on.
It's 10:14 at this point. They're going to get there before I can get there as far as from being in traffic. It's just going to be quicker to take it there.
Where's she at? Is that your car?
He dealt with her. I don't know where he put her.
He dealt with her. I don't know where he put her.
It's the right eye.
Is she in my car?
Yes.
This isn't my car. Oh, she is in here.
So we got the lock in.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? My name's Eric. I'm with Moab Police. What's your name?
Gabby.
Gabby, how old are you?
I'm 22.
What happened? What's going on?
I'm just having a very stressed morning.
Yeah. Is this your husband or boyfriend?
My fiance.
Fiance? Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
What happened over at Moonflower?
That's debatable. New Zealand mysteries.
I was just really stressed this morning, trying to get a lot of work done, and I was apologizing to him. I had thrown a bunch of stuff in the back, and all our bags were back there. I was just apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry that I get so stressed out because I have OCD, and I was just like organizing stuff. And sometimes I just have a mean attitude.
Welcome, Method Fire.
I'm trying to be mean about just straightening things up and stuff. So I was just apologizing, but I guess I said it in like a mean tone, and he got really frustrated with me, and he locked me out of the car and told me to go take a breather. But I didn't want to take a breather because I wanted to get going. We're out of water.
So it kind of made you more upset.
Yeah,
it didn't help calm you. It made you more upset.
Yeah. And
so then what happened?
And, so our goal was to come here and come refill our water.
Are you guys living out of the van right now on travels?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just really.
So what happened after he locked you out? I told you to take a breather.
Well, he walked away to go take his own breather, but I wanted to sit in the car because all my stuff was in the car. I had none of my bags. I was working on something at the moment in the car, and he told me to just relax for a second, and I didn't want to relax, so I got really mad. I mean, I don't need to be mad.
Yeah, it happens. Then what happened?
And then I told him to drive and get water because I was really thirsty.
Yeah? Is there something on your cheek here? Looks like, did you get hit in the face? Kind of looks like something like hitting you in the face. And then over on your arm, shoulder, right here. That's new, huh?
Look at that.
It's kind of a new mark.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Can I see the other side of your face? So, what happened here and here?
I'm not sure. It was I was just trying to get in the back of.
This officer has a completely different. He's going about this completely differently than all the other officers, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's going about it the correct way.
So the backpack got you? So there's two people that came to us and told us that they saw him hit you. There's two people saying that they saw him punch you. We're just independent witnesses by Moonflower.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him.
You slapped him first? And then just on his face?
You have to kind of just shut up.
How many times did you slap him?
Just a couple.
And then what? And then his reaction was to do what?
So I wouldn't slap him.
He just grabbed you?
Yeah.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him, and then I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth if he actually hit you.
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first.
Where did he hit you? Don't
Unreal.
Just be honest.
He grabbed my face, like this.
This is very, very different than what we watched before, folks. Now, this is this is what I'm convinced of now. Now that she's being pressured to tell the truth by this officer. Now that she's being pressured to do that, she's trying to protect him. But I think she's doing that for the same reason that most victims of DV do, which is because part of her actually blames herself. She's being truthful when she's saying I hit him first and blah, blah, blah. But also it's out of fear of retaliation. Because at some point, she probably doesn't see herself. Now, she probably doesn't see herself as, being without him. Right. And so for her to visualize him being hauled off in handcuffs and then having to interact with him again after it's all cleared up and he gets out, she's afraid of consequences. And especially now, I'm guessing, because she is that afraid right now. This is the peak of her fear. So, yeah, this is heartbreaking. This is absolutely heartbreaking.
He didn't hit me in the face. Like, he didn't punch me in the face or anything.
Did he slap your face or what?
Well, he grabbed me with his nail, and I guess that's why it was. I definitely have a cut right here because I could feel it.
Yeah.
When I touch it, it burns.
Why are you grabbing her face?
Okay. So has he been drinking?
No, we don't drink.
Okay. What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb.
I hit him.
While you're driving?
Well, he was driving.
While he was driving, you were hitting him?
Not a lot, but yeah.
And that was distracting him while he's driving?
Only for a second. No, because I saw the lights come on and I kind of
Now, let's discuss something real quick. What abusive people don't do is take accountability the way she is right now. They don't do that. Right? So she's trying to put it all on her. She's saying it was me, it was me, it was me, it was me. Right? If she was this abusive person that was hitting him because she's mean, she doesn't really care about him, she's narcissistic, as people like to say, well, you know what I mean? She would be saying, yes, this son of a, he hit me and he grabbed my face and he did all this. And I swear, all I did was, try to push him away or blah, blah, blah. Right? But that's not what she's doing. It's not what she's doing at all.
Did you already tell him all this?
I didn't get that far into it. She was hyperventilating.
She's saying that
you didn't get that far into it because you weren't doing your job. I'm sorry.
We don't drink or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when you turned your lights on, I kind of punched her. I'm like, you're just an idiot.
She's saying was why he hit the curb. You said it was Gabby? I'm sorry, I'm really bad. Name is Gabby.
Yeah.
Okay. You okay, Gabby? Do you have medication for anxiety you take or anything?
No.
Do you take any medication for any?
I just do yoga and
try to meditate and stuff, but you tend to have a lot of anxiety and stress.
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name? Is it Brian? Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot because I have a lot of anxiety and he definitely has anxiety too.
Oh, that can be a bad combo if you both have anxiety. I have anxiety too, and my girlfriend, my girlfriend's really, really calm, and she has a way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down. But my ex-wife, that's why she's my ex-wife. I'm just sharing. I know it's a little personal, but to help you understand, we would feed off each other's anxiety and it would spiral. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul. Just saying.
I feel you about the ex, man.
If you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're not here to be
It's
mean to
never
you or
happened
anything.
before.
Well, you know, there's a first time, and then it usually. We'll go see what Brian's saying, but
Let
I
me
think you've heard
get
everything.
on chat real quick. Sam B, is she on medication? I feel like you're referring to, like, why is the cop asking her if she's on medication? So there's no other reason she could be so upset. Well, I think what they're trying to do is just get to the bottom of everything. They're trying to sift away, like I said, like I just described. They're trying to chip away all the things that are not the truth and get down to the truth. So earlier, at one point, before this officer showed up in the first video, she mentioned that she had bad anxiety, and so these officers probably communicated that with each other at some point. And so he's asking if she is taking any medication for her anxiety, probably just to get to the truth, if whether or not she's just using that as an excuse as to why she's so scared and upset, because that's what he's trying to get to. He's saying, why are you so upset? You know? And he's trying to be really nice about it. I think that he's doing a good job.
Now from
Quick question. You said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab him? Okay.
You want to come stand in the shade?
You can get with all man.
Yeah, I know the struggle. So you don't drink or anything?
No.
Okay. So you were talking to these officers, and I don't mean to butt in. I just felt
Dude,
kind
the
of
back
bad
of my
for you.
hand
Even if you stand here, you'll have more
would
shade.
look so
Right.
good going across his
down,
face.
No, I know how it is.
The big sombrero.
Well,
Be like,
from when I
good
first
hand.
got here, we were more worried about what kind
Good
of a guy
hand.
you are from what we heard. When
I
I'm
would
talking
baby
to your
this
girlfriend,
hand
it sounds
once
to
it
me
did.
like maybe this is not so clear cut. So, did you already give a statement to this officer?
I got this gentleman here.
Yeah. And this gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she's got some marks on her too. So we're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told your story. But this officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And
Yeah,
and then you tell him what happened, will you? If you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
See if it sounds the same.
I'm going to turn my car, get this noise out here.
Oh, it doesn't. No, leave your office on.
For the past
be hot, though.
week or so, traveling around. And the flies here, like, pretty intense.
He's smiling because he's trying to play it off like there's nothing wrong.
Around Brazil, this other house.
Like, oh no, there's nothing to see here, guys. Everything's cool, man. Everything's cool. That's what he's trying to do. That's why he's smiling, because he is deathly afraid of getting put in handcuffs and taken to jail and ending up with a DV charge.
Thanks. Thank you. You think the dude liar? Can I get liar? Oh no. Apparently they don't even drink. She says that he hit the curb because when Officer Roberts turned his lights on, she started punching him because of the trouble they're in.
So the relationship's going well.
Yeah, he can drink some water. Thanks. Doesn't seem super cold, but maybe. You want Gatorade? You want water? I got some water.
Yeah, you have water.
Prefer water?
I'm sorry, I only drink water.
I don't blame you.
Like she was she's so nice. I mean, she's like looking at it like, man, there's all that sugar, and I'll drink it because it's there and they were nice enough to give it to me, but if water's an option, I'll take it, you know. Did she say that? Or did he say that? Should I go back? Let me check.
Are you worried about her story? Like, should I
No, you can talk. And she's got some marks on her too. So we're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told your story. But this officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And
Yeah,
and then you tell him what happened, will you? If you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
See if it sounds the same.
I'm going to turn my car, get this noise out here.
Oh, it doesn't. No, leave your office on.
For the past
It's gonna be hot, though.
week or so, traveling around. And the flies here, like, pretty intense. around the little this and that. So she gets a little.
We take those to a pump. Thanks. Thank you.
Do you think he'd be wired? Can I get him wired?
Oh no, apparently they don't even drink. She says that he hit the curb because when Officer Roberts turned his lights on, she started punching him because of the trouble they're in.
So the relationship's going well.
Yeah, he can drink some water. Thanks. Doesn't seem super cold, but maybe.
Yeah, I didn't hear
You want
that.
Gatorade? You want water? I got some water.
Yeah, you have water.
Prefer water?
I'm sorry, I only drink water.
I don't blame you.
Maybe it's over here.
Okay. She says that she can only drink water.
Are you worried about her story? Like, should I tell her?
No, you can talk to her. She seems like a really sweet girl, 22 or something, has a lot of anxiety, and from what she's claiming, she's the full-on aggressor here.
Yeah, that's kind of what he said.
I'd love to go talk to the independent witnesses, and maybe that's what I'll go do.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple waters. Here's this bag.
Yeah,
You might
see,
need that for someone else.
he suspects that's not the case. This guy's police instincts are saying it.
She wanted another key to rings, phone. And I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have a phone. So she goes off that.
Okay, he just said he didn't have a phone.
I'm on my
I've
own.
heard that, right? We're gonna see this one more time. Now we may not because there was another body cam that was on him.
So I was saying, let's just go for a walk. And she was trying to get the keys for me. So I was just going, just wait, back up. And then that's when she hit me. And I didn't give, I don't want to push you, but I didn't give her really physical. I'm just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and that's probably really attention where I was going. Back up, get away, just get me.
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What kind of snack was that?
Okay, Google. Police, how are you? Hey, we got this van stopped, and we've separated the male and the female, and we got both of their stories. Now that we're not looking for them so intensely, I was just wondering if you had a minute to just kind of repeat to me what it is exactly you saw.
No problem, sir. Yeah, so I was talking to my friend across the street near the Forest Service building, and I just noticed that this couple was sort of arguing a bit, and I wasn't staring at them, but it did catch my attention. And what I noticed is it seemed like they were sort of squabbling over a phone. I want to say that he was trying to grab her phone, and I'm not sure exactly why. And then it seems like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in. And then the male was stepping into the driver's seat, and she was trying to get into the van. And he said something about, why are you being so mean, something like that. And I remember he sort of hit him a few times, and it wasn't like slugs in the face, but just kind of like two kids kind of fighting. They reminded me of very secure, I don't know, children sort of fighting. But there seemed like something was off, and it seemed like a weird vibe. And eventually it's like, she crawled into the driver's seat, sort of like got into the vehicle over his lap, sort of forced her way in, I guess. And then they were in the car, and then they just drove away. So I wasn't sure what the nature of the argument was or what. It just seems like there was some sort of disagreement and some sort of like shutting. I don't know why she would have entered through the driver's door. I thought that was strange. And so I thought about calling it in, but as soon as I walked up into far. There's another gentleman who was already calling it in, so I was like, oh, good on you. That seems it off. I wasn't sure what to do in that situation, but that's what I saw. And if there's any other specific questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Did you ever see the male strike the female?
I would say that I think I saw maybe a push or a shove, but not like a full-on punch to the face or anything.
Was the shove was the shove or push an aggression towards her, or was it a defensive maneuver away from her or to get her away from him?
That's a good question. It was unclear what was going on to me, but it did seem like he was. It seemed like he was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. It almost seemed like he put that backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. I'm not sure. And then he was stepping in and she was out trying to get in. So maybe.
Okay.
I don't. It was the whole thing was off, and so no, I didn't see anything that was like him taking after her or hitting her or vice versa.
All right. Yeah. Coda's going to get comfortable, I guess, or try to. So, yeah, it seems like this officer's trying to get to the bottom of that. What I'm curious about is I wonder if this is the same guy that called 911, or was he just on the scene when they responded? And then he said, yeah, I saw what happened. So I'm curious, because if it's the same guy who called 911, well, his story's changing drastically, because the person that I heard on that 911 call straight up said that he hit her, that he slapped her numerous times. Okay, so someone else. Okay, so you're saying somebody else called 911. Okay.
It was kind of light, and they were almost kind of laughing, and I wasn't sure if they were just joking around, to be honest. But then it got more strange as he was in the vehicle about to drive off.
But you did see her slapping him, though. It sounds like.
Yes, it was like my memory is he was in the driver's seat.
Really, Jolene? You too? So everybody wants to be. Look at this, dude. Everybody wants to be on the couch. You got Panda over here. You got Coda like behind me. I'm just leaning on Coda. The only person that's not up here is Leopold. This is unbelievable. But okay, you guys can if you can find room, Jolene. Yeah, you okay? Look at. If you can find room, Jolene, you're welcome up here too. Yeah, I'm in a sea of puppies. Come you clown R&B. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. Jolene gave up.
Door open and he was like kind of hitting him.
Oh.
In the arm or maybe on the face. Maybe with an open hand. Like, hey, let me in, don't be a jerk, something like that.
Okay. Well, your story is really, really helpful because you're an independent witness, and we've just interviewed both of them. And what you're saying is making everything make a lot of sense. So I really appreciate that I ran into you and that I was able to get your number and talk to you. So thank you very much. If we need to ask for a written statement, obviously it's voluntary, it's helpful. But at this point, I don't know if we need to go that far unless you're around and super willing at this moment. I can meet you and get a statement.
Yeah, no, I live here, totally willing to do that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Maybe I'll just go. Yeah, I can go write it down now before memory fades. Because, like I said, I was kind of just casually observing, but something did seem off, and just wanted to make sure that no one was in a bad situation. So,
where can we find you to give you a form real quick? About 10-15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, bye.
Hey, Robin. So I just got a phone with one of the two witnesses, and I recorded it. Do you want me to tell you what he said real quick? Do you mind hanging with him for a minute? So let's get away from both of them. So he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw the male trying to lock her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk, so that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. So she's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she'd have her shit.
So this video goes on for a while,
She's saying
but so far
same thing.
I have not heard Gabby say that he hit her.
I never saw him.
I mean, not that grabbing her face is okay, but I'm saying that she hasn't said that he actually struck her.
As far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in an instance of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, it doesn't necessarily...
Okay, so now we can see why this witness speaking to the officer on the phone really it corroborated with her story. It corroborated with Brian's story, Doucheface's story, but it also corroborated with her story. Like, we have to keep that in mind. So these officers, so far, I'm seeing them doing their job, because at least before we saw this second footage, we did not see the other officer with the first body cam footage. We didn't see him notice the marks on her. This officer, this other officer responding with this body cam footage, noticed the marks on her and acknowledged them and asked her about them and probed her pretty thoroughly about it. So I'm not, I'm not ready to blame these officers so much, because before this, I was under the impression that the dispatcher, that the 911 caller says that he slapped her, and the dispatcher told the police officer, the responding police officer, or at least one of them, that he slapped her, or according to a witness. And what we didn't hear was the first officer from the first body cam footage acknowledge this. And that's why I thought they completely dropped ball. But this is different, because this officer did address those things. And thoroughly.
They have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of three criterion, which one of them is that we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually been injury too to the victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say? Why he hit the curb?
Well, I watched. This is what I saw. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my wheels at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, went in the curb.
So did he tell you why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So
sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting hit in the arm, I'm probably pulling out the wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was a little of both. I mean, usually the truth is somewhere in between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault, domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit me.
Look at this.
Yeah.
You hear that?
So
now they think that he's lying to protect her. He's saying he probably doesn't want her to get charged with assault, and that's why he's saying that she grabbed the wheel instead of saying that she was hitting his arm. This is Twilight Zone. It's a man.
For her, we cannot treat, just because he's bigger and stronger, even if he's not willing to press charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male and female violence.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to charge her. And we can do a citation if there's some arrangement that can be made to separate them, and then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. And then we have to let him know the only way to drop it is to go into the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's
It's
today?
too late
Thursday?
today.
So it won't be till tomorrow. And they're only there till noon, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
They're
Well, the
lucky
other
it's a
part of it is
Thursday too.
They've been on 4 or 5 months that they've been living out of the ranch.
Well, this is really bad news. So let's talk to him first.
Yeah.
His name's Brian. Did you ask him yet and take pictures of him? Yeah. Okay. So Brian, unfortunately, in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under a Class A. It's a Class B or under. If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can. But there's a few things I can't. When I say I, the police, I'm not in charge of this. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to a domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners, and you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor and that she was striking you and that you received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her. She has not admitted to you striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of a domestic assault. That even if you didn't want to,
Look at him laughing.
We don't have a choice. The best thing we could do to not the law says we have to charge her.
Look at the look of satisfaction on his face.
Okay, but it also says we have to separate, do a no contact order, and then we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here. Is you guys are out of Florida living in the van together. How are we supposed to separate you guys? Now, I don't want to take this small 20. What is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old
female in jail that you could definitely defend yourself against. But at the same time, we can't say because you're a
This
male
guy
and she's a
sucks.
female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We got to treat it the same.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, do you have friends in town? Somewhere she can stay? Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge.
Oh, what a
Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again
stand-up guy.
Take your radio.
if you want to be with her again tomorrow, because it's after 5, so our office is closed, you can go to the police department and fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order, so you guys can
Let me address this comment real quick.
Online in a week or two.
I can't say that I agree with that. I honestly can't say that I agree with that. They have 2 witnesses, right? I see people are like, there's 2 witnesses. One of them's the 911 caller. The other one's the guy that the officer just spoke to on his phone, right? So there's 2 witnesses. One of them says Brian hit her, but the other witnesses says he didn't see that. Gabby says that he didn't. He says that he didn't. Brian, douche face. So what are these cops going to do? They're going to say 3 stories, including, and 2 out of the 3 are the couple. So 3 stories are corroborating here. They have to act on that. So these cops weren't there. They don't know what's going on. They didn't see it happening. They had no way of foreseeing that we would be here today. You have to understand that. And I know it's not easy, and it's not an easy thing to accept. I know. I want to be one of these people that are like, more people need to be held accountable. They could have saved Gabby's life, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. And, I'm saying, but you have to understand their perspective here. They're just trying to get to the truth. And they got 3 out of 4 stories that corroborate. You understand? So why wouldn't they go with those 3? So I hate to say it, but I think that these officers did their job to the best of their ability in this situation. As much as I don't want to, as much as I'm just as angry as anybody else, but I think that they honestly did. No, there were not 2 911 calls, Dizzy Lizzie. Let me clear that up. There was 1 911 call from what I understand. But the second witness is somebody who happened to see something and spoke to the officer when the officer responded to the call. So what happened was the these officers responded to a 911 call of DV. And once they got there, they were gone in the van. They spoke to a couple people, and then another officer went. And I guess this guy, since he got here later, he probably stayed behind and spoke to a witness, while the first officer with the body cam footage went after them to try to pull them over so they could catch them. So while one officer is trying to find them and pull them over, other officers are speaking to witnesses at the scene. And Kimmy71 is saying there was 2 calls. But I would like to know if the other call, they said that that they saw Brian strike her. And that brings up another issue, because we've talked about that too, at how this could be avoided next time. But you have to understand, this is pretty standard. These cops really, at least this cop right here, the one with the body cam footage that we're watching, this guy seems to have really asked questions and dug for the truth. I don't know about that. Because the way that they'd handled it, though, the result is what matters, is it not? Because, I mean, he says that he's a victim. She's saying that he's the victim. She's admitting. So you've got three out of 4 stories that corroborate, but one of those stories is technically a confession. That's why what you're saying, so done with it, I don't think applies, with respect. So why the cops are in trouble, I'm going to guess, is because of public outrage. That's what I'm going to guess, is sheer public outrage. Now, it's possible that somebody did something wrong, and we're not cops. We don't know what procedure is. And we can't pinpoint it just by watching this footage, because we're not trained the way these officers are. So what I'm thinking is, they basically they're not just acting off of those 3 out of 4, stories that corroborate. They're focused on the one story that technically is a confession.
You're gonna have to show up for a court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. They might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, if that's your decision.
I was going to say, it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything too much. My fiance, I love her. It's just a little squabble. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. But
okay, before I let him continue, so also keep in mind that the cops are basically acting on, okay, well, we have a procedure here in Utah. They've all got body cam footage, or at least 2 of them do. And so everything they're doing is recorded as evidence. Everything that they're doing. So they have to go completely by the book. And they're saying that in Utah, it doesn't matter if it was the male or the female who was the aggressor, one of them has to get charged, and there has to be a separation. Now, they're not saying, okay, well, we're going to take her to jail. They're saying, what we have to do is separate the 2 of you, and we have to file a no contact order. And then tomorrow you can come to the station and dispute it. But for tonight, you have to be separated. So tomorrow you can go and dispute this if you want, and then case closed. It's all over, but we have to do this, or we're not doing our jobs. So if you don't, if you guys want to kiss and make up and live happily ever after this, we wish you the best. Great. Knock yourselves out. But we got to do our jobs. And your word that you guys are going to get along tonight is not going to work for us, because then we're not doing our jobs. So what you can do, we're going to have to do what we have to do, which is separate you guys, put a no contact order. And then if you don't feel this way tomorrow, or if you feel the same way you do right now that you're saying, then you can go to the station tomorrow and squash it and then go on about your vacation.
But so I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So it says
you want her back,
date.
well, she'll get a paper with a court date.
How do I get rid of it?
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it. The first is just an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. Do you understand the charge that's been brought against you? Yes or no? Yes or no? The answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no? Do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak with the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you and say, hey man, like, I know she's 110 pounds soaking wet and you're a big strong guy, and we understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, but the cops have to follow the statute. How, like, what in the interest of you, if justice for you as a victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute her, or they can decide to drop it, or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away if she behaves from now on. But that still does not eliminate the first court appearance that she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online, so you don't have.
Okay, so and they can do it online.
If you're out of
the
town,
court appearance she has to do,
online,
but they can do it online.
Driver's license, they can issue a warrant for her, so she needs to play ball. And
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And remember, me and her are a team. I'm sorry about all this. I apologize again. But so she's got her online court date, just to acknowledge that she's her, and then she's got the one for the.
Well, there's automatically right now there's something called a no contact order in place.
Yeah,
From this point
but
forward,
she explained that.
tomorrow,
So done with
if
it.
you wish to drop it, you have
She
to go
explained that. That's the thing, is they explored that and they asked about it. But what she said was that it wasn't that he slapped her, it was that he grabbed her face. Now, to me, that's an act of aggression. To me, that would get me to a point to where I'd say both of you guys are getting charged. That's where I would be like, they dropped the ball. That's the only aspect. Me personally, if I'm that officer, I'm going, both of you guys need to learn a lesson here. You shouldn't be putting your hands on each other, period. So I'm charging you both. You're getting separated for the night, but you're both going to have to face a judge. And so you're going to have to realize how stupid it is for you guys to put your hands on each other, or you can't be, or you shouldn't be together. So
to the 217 East Center Street, Moab City Police Department, and you have to ask, we'll give it to you. You want to fill out a waiver that you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, the no contact order. The no contact order means she cannot come into contact with you, she cannot talk to you, she cannot text you, she cannot go onto any premises that you're occupying, she cannot go to your vehicle. And until you drop that, or until court date, if you don't drop it, it stays in effect until midnight on the day of court. And then that gives you time to get a protective order, a long-term one, if you feel like you need one. But it sounds like you don't even want this one. So tomorrow, they open at 8. You can go in the police department. You can fill out the waiver. They can remove it. Then
so if I had to guess, I'd say that's why those cops are being reprimanded by their department, or by the city or whoever, because supposedly the police commissioner is in trouble too. Now I'm wondering if that's even the case. I'm wondering if it has to be, if that's a Utah law where grabbing the face is okay, but hitting is not, which I find ridiculous if it is. So I seriously doubt it. I don't think that's the case, but that would kind of make sense as to why they did what they did. But to me, no. To me, I mean, if you grab someone's face and it's hard enough to leave marks the way they did, and it's that much time later, and this guy is like, wait a minute, I see marks on your face right here. What happened to your face? So now he only saw scratches on the one side of her face, right? So that would make sense that that's actually what he did. I'm not saying he didn't hit her. I'm not saying he didn't slap her, but it's also possible that 911 caller saw him do that and was so fired up by seeing a man put his hands on another woman, on a woman, that was like, yeah, this guy hit her. You need to go get him. He hit her. Because people exaggerate stuff all the time. Let's I know I'm saying things that you guys might not want to hear, but we have to explore all possibilities, people. So it could be that the 911 caller embellished his story a little bit in order because he was angry seeing a man put his hands on a woman, and then exaggerated him putting his hands on her face as him hitting her. And the only reason I say exaggerate, it's not to say that one is more serious than the other. It's to say that it's this guy is like, no, I consider that hitting. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say that that was hitting. Even though technically it wasn't, I don't care about technicalities. I saw this guy put his hands on her, and I'm calling the cops saying that he hit her so that they go after him with, that they go after him without holding anything back, that they prioritize getting a hold of this guy and at least asking him questions. But oh, Ames, are you out? Thanks for being here. Have a good night. So we're just speculating here, guys, but it kind of makes sense to me because, why would his nails, unless he was holding with force, think about that for a second. A quick like this would leave more of a welt, maybe even indentations of each finger that went across her face, right? But I feel like if there's scratches, that would be more consistent with grabbing her face. And, but if it's with enough force to where he digs his nails into her face, to me, that is just as bad as her slapping his arm while he's driving, if not way worse. And I'm going to go with the latter, me personally. It's just not okay. There's nothing, so I'm going to guess that the reason why these cops are being reprimanded is because he should have been charged just as much as she was. Absolutely. These cops are looking at it on terms of who hit who first. That's what I'm seeing. Who hit who first? And since she's saying I hit him first because he kept saying that, who did that? But then he did probe and say, but did he hit you back? And she clearly said, the marks on my face, that's from him grabbing me. To me, that's anger. That's not, hey, calm down. Stop hitting me. Calm down. That's not what that is. That's, you put your hands on me, dear, put your hands on me, that sort of thing. That's what I'm visualizing in my head. And calling names that I don't want to say here. So if it's me, if I'm one of these officers, and I have to follow protocol, and the reason why I have to follow protocol so to the book is because I'm a by the book cop, and I have body cam footage that ensures that I have a body cam on me that ensures that I'm a by the book cop. So if I'm one of those, they're both getting charged.
You can say, hey, babe, where you at? Let me pick you up. And you can pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but if she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight to be separate from you, then where are we supposed to
I can't talk to her now because of the separation.
There's no contact order there.
So tell me this. Do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I'd give her a ride over to whatever hotel you guys is choosing.
You can pick her up there tomorrow if you want to know what.
On your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up quite literally within minutes.
Unless you know someone else in town that's a friend that she can stay with.
Yeah. No, unfortunately not. I don't, and I guess that.
Man, I sure hate to. I don't want her to go to jail.
Will it be if she goes to jail? It's like that goes down somewhere instead of her going to a hotel, right? If you did a citation, it would be.
I mean, it could be bobby pin, but the thing is there's 3 other stories, and one of those stories is her. So it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter. So if I'm in a position to where I have to say why these cops actually did drop the ball, because now that I'm thinking about it more and more, then I would say, yeah, that I could find reason why they dropped the ball, which is A, they let it go that he grabbed her face like that. And sorry. Hold on. We're supposed to charge the aggressor, which is identified to be Gabby. The officer in charge did not arrest her and just had them separate. Okay, so since she hit him first, they're looking at it like him grabbing her face is self-defense, right? Is that what you're arguing? That would be argued as self-defense. Which, like I said, I can see that, but there's no reason for a man to do that to a girl that's that size. You know, I can almost see that if he was dating a bodybuilder, you know, or a woman that had some weight on him, you know. I'm not saying it's okay, but I can see that being necessary to get that person off of them is what I'm saying. Now, all I'm seeing if you squeeze a girl that you've got such stature on and weight over, then, you know, you squeeze her face like that, you're, you know, and it's strong enough to leave marks. Well, then you're angry. That's not self-defense. That's anger. That's, you know, but the cops now procedure might dictate that it had that is technically self-defense, and that's probably why they didn't charge him. But if I were a cop, I'd charge him anyway and just let it get thrown out of court. You know what I mean? Like I said, just to teach these two a lesson, like, yo, you guys shouldn't be putting your hands on each other. Look what happens when y'all put your hands on each other. You end up in handcuffs and you end up in the back of the car. You end up spending the night in jail. That's what happens. You know, I wouldn't care if it got thrown out of court, because I'd be like, this is what happens when you two act like a fool. If you can't keep your hands off each other, then you shouldn't be together. Period. Take this as a lesson to you.
And so if she goes to jail, they're going to book her, and they'll take her fingerprints, and it's going to go on her criminal history. And then if they don't convict her, then it will just show that it was dismissed. It'll show up on her criminal history, but the charge was dismissed. If she is found guilty, it'll show up as she was guilty of a domestic assault. But the charge itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets it expunged. Now,
good night, Coco
even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint, and it's still going to show up. Either way, it's still going to show up. There's no way around a Class A. Or is this Class B?
This is Class B.
But they do require a fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the other part is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class B.
Well,
which is a little bit different, but it doesn't help the city.
If you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she could get a new charge for violating the no contact order. The no contact order doesn't restrict you; it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and we find out you're not in trouble, she'll be in trouble. So it's in your interest to. Does that all make sense?
No, I'm getting it.
It's a lot. Really quick.
No, I'm getting it. I'm just trying to figure out a way.
You don't know anyone in town? You guys been here how long?
No, I don't know anyone in town. If she went.
All right, can I get a mod to send this to me right here? What I just put up on the screen?
It is a women's shelter.
I'm curious.
You could find out and say, hey, she doesn't have where to go.
If you did the citation, say she drove off she could drive off in this car.
We could give you a ride somewhere.
Yeah, I got my backpack.
It sucks for you, but
I got my backpack.
You can spend a night.
You want to drive me to Delicate Art?
Does she have a good driver's license? And
she does have a driver's license.
You trust her with your vehicle? And
yeah, she can handle it.
Well, then you'd kind of be homeless.
Oh, what a dick.
Man, I can't talk to her at all.
Like, do you trust her with your vehicle? And he was like, yeah, she can handle it. Like, it's not mine. It's actually hers. He did not ever speak up and say, it's not actually my vehicle. It's actually hers. But do you trust her with your vehicle? Yeah, she can handle it. Like he's already like taking ownership of her stuff. Unreal. This guy sucks, dude. This guy sucks.
And
Well,
I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping.
we can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all this, and then let her know what
He's not in the least
Here's
bit
the problem, though. If we
upset
take it
about
to
this.
Delicate Arch,
Not in the
you're going to be
slightest.
hoofing it from Delicate Arch all the way down to Moab Center Street, so that you can fill out that paperwork. Because if you're not there by noon tomorrow,
They're
you're
closed
looking
at
at
noon
Monday
tomorrow
morning.
because it's early out Fridays over the office. So
Yeah.
you won't be there after that.
You'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see her again.
And again, we're not trying to make your life hard, but this is written in statute. There's nothing
know,
we can do about it. It's
Yeah,
designed
like
to
if
protect
you just want to pick this apart, I mean, this is Utah, dude. I wonder how many of these guys are Mormon. You know what I'm saying? How many of these guys? Sure, okay. How many of these guys are just have a how many of these guys just have a were raised with the belief that men are better than women, you know, and so they just they just assumed that the van was his. It didn't even cross their mind that just because he was driving, it still might be her vehicle. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, I'm like, sorry, I'm laughing at I'm laughing at some messages that I'm getting. Um Hold on, I gotta do something real quick. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's the case where these guys are just that like ignorant when it comes off to that. Okay, hold on. Oh god. She sent it to me on Discord, which I don't have on my computer, so all right. Let me do this real quick. Sorry, my computer's pretty slow, so I apologize, guys. And I'm not looking at chat right now either. All right. Let's do this. Go over that real quick.
So CPA, do you have a phone number for the RP? Maybe you're still landline and a location where our victim's at?
Phone number is name's. I'm not sure where it's at. but the female who got hit, they both, the male and the female, both got into the van and headed north. Continuing attempt to locate, time lapse of about probably 40 seconds. RP stating a male hit a female domestic. He got into a white Ford Transit van, has a black ladder on the back, Florida plate of the van turned right.
But this is the dispatcher talking to
and headed north onto Main Street, 1638.
So is this the second 911 caller? Okay, I mean that could have been the first 911 caller. So I honestly don't know.
Victims of domestic assault, not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same.
But you didn't, though.
Did you think they can't afford a hotel?
No.
Very.
Yeah, apparently there was.
Hotels are expensive here.
Tommy.
You want me to? I'll call CK then.
Just see if CK will take her for the night.
I'll see if they'll take either one of them.
This is the women's shelter. Actually, CK will take him as a victim.
Oh, I can't stand this dude.
CK will take you, and they will help you.
Like a block and a half away from the PD.
Let's see if CK will take
Just want
him.
to like
because
slam the back of his head into that ladder. Like,
they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
CK might get you a hotel. Now, what she does,
I'm happy sleeping outside in a sleeping bag.
No,
So, like, I don't need a hotel.
I think
I'm just saying.
I think CK will get you a hotel. If you want her to have the van, we don't care. It's up to you. But there's nothing we can do about the rest.
I don't want to open my car. I'm just trying to think. I gotta grab my. I gotta make like a little bag.
You sweating to death yet?
I think we're good.
You good? I'm gonna talk to you real quick, but I've been talking so much. I gotta get some water. I'll be right back. Let me grab water. Now this is the water. It's cold water.
That's what we get visitors.
Oh yeah. Okay, Gabby. When you grow up and you're a full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from. Plus, it's ice cold, and so I'm gonna drink from it. Sorry. You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
And they do curls.
Then you can do your curls. So, look, I'm going to speak to you frankly. I have a daughter almost your age, and I'm looking at you not so much like a suspect, but also as kind of a victim in the sense that you're dealing with some struggles emotionally and mentally at your age. Probably they'll work themselves out as you get older. There's a lot of angst at your age, and I remember being your age too. And hopefully it works itself out. But the stuff you did today that contributed to this, because you both contributed to this, is as a result of your inability to cope with the anxiety and the stress that you're having. So in a way, you're kind of a victim of this. I think you would have done better if you had the skills to do better. But you don't learn skills until you learn skills. And you don't have enough life experience yet to know how to navigate everything. Like, I don't either, but I can navigate what happened. If I was in your shoes, I could handle it different because I'm 39 years old. I've been through it. But I've got a lot of life lessons to learn still because I'm like my dad and my grandpas, they know stuff I don't know, right? They can do stuff I don't know. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that we sympathize with you. But based on what you've said and based on what our witnesses said, and even based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying his very hardest not to have you in any trouble, he does have marks on him that witnesses say were caused by you slapping him. And that even you say you slapped him and were.
I don't know if the witness has ever said that, though.
And I don't have anyone saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was.
He just said that the witness said that he has marks on him because witnesses said that they saw her slap him. I don't remember hearing that from the 911 call that I heard. Well, okay, never mind. I forgot about the guy that he talked to on the phone. The guy that he talked to on the phone did say so. He said that, but it looked like they were like play fighting and laughing, sort of, and then it had a weird vibe to it, and then he realized it got serious. He said something to that effect. So yeah, the witness did say, the witness that he spoke to said that he saw her slap him. So I take that back.
In a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van or to get space from you, not to assail you, if that makes sense. So if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course she's defending herself to get away from this guy. Well, we're kind of looking at it the same way with him, and we have to treat both fair, even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt and Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender under the same, so we can't. Even if it makes no sense that because you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could if he attacked you, we can't treat you different, okay? So all that long-windedness I'm giving you right now is leading up to the fact that if I pull someone over for speeding, I have the right to give them a warning. I have something called officer discretion. But in the legislature in Utah, they have made a law that if we have a domestic assault, they don't trust the police to make good decisions because too many cops have made bad decisions. So they say, we're not going to give you discretion. We're going to write a law that says if you have a domestic assault, whether it's male on female or female on male, whoever the primary aggressor is has to be charged. No choice. You don't get to give them a warning. Doesn't even matter if they're barely hurt at all and the guy doesn't want to press charges or the girl doesn't want to press charges. We don't have a choice. We literally have no choice. He does not want to press charges. He says you guys are a team. He says you're his fiance. He says he loves you. He says he doesn't want anything to happen. But we're explaining to him that we don't have any choice in this. So we're trying to get a local victims advocacy group called Seek Haven to get him a hotel for the night so that you can have
that makes me
the van,
so
they won't
mad.
Give you the hotel because you're the
and
one.
It's only because I know what's going on here. You know what I mean? It's only because I know what the outcome is, because that beautiful girl sitting in the back of that car, frightened, is no longer with us. She's no longer with us, guys. So knowing that now makes me so mad that they treated him like such a victim that they even put him up in a hotel under a program for victims of DV. Basically a shelter program. It's oh man, that makes me so mad.
Is the primary aggressor. So they're going to consider him the victim. So they're going to get him a hotel. So he wants you so that you don't have to go to jail, because the only thing we can do is take you to jail. He says, well, so she doesn't have to go to jail, then I will accept Seek Haven's help.
See, now,
give me a hotel. And then
let's pay attention to that. He just used the term primary aggressor. Primary aggressor probably meaning that she started it. He was trying to get away from her. They assess there's something obviously called primary aggressor that they go by. And based on that, this situation, she probably fit under that, considering the stories that everybody told. She was trying to get into the van. After she was slapping him, he was trying to get into the van, and or she was trying to get into the van, and he wasn't letting her in the van. And that could be construed as that that he was just trying to get away from her. Just, oh my God, I'm afraid of her. But that doesn't explain why he squeezed her face so hard that he would dig his nails into her face. It just doesn't explain that.
Man, so she doesn't have to go to jail. She can just have a ticket. When you get the ticket, it's going to give you a phone number to call, and they're going to give you a court date, and that court date will probably be online.
I have to come back to Utah?
No, it'll be online.
Oh.
You have a smartphone?
Yeah.
So you can. I go to court. You're okay.
Sorry, I've never heard of this. I didn't know this in
When
Utah.
COVID happened, they switched all the court from in person to online. So when I go to court now,
I have a ticket for hitting the curb and something, please, because we're okay. Like, where does it?
I understand, but we don't have listen, if I had any discretion in this, I would separate you guys for
That's
the day.
so sad.
Morning
She's
to
so
stop
scared
doing so.
of having to deal with all this.
But I lawfully don't have discretion here. I don't have any.
Because somebody said something, like a witness said something.
Because there's two witnesses, and then there's what you said and what he said, and guess what? It all matches nicely. That you.
No, dude. The one witness says he hit her,
and that the injuries he has were caused by your aggression towards him. Even if he doesn't feel hurt, even if he doesn't want to press charges, there's nothing any cop can do about it. It's written into the law.
I know, but I don't.
Normally, we take people to jail, but he's trying to work it so you can just have the van. Tomorrow,
I don't want to be separated.
You can have anxiety?
Yeah, no, we're a team, please.
There's no, what is it?
No, like, we're a team, please. It's gonna give me so much anxiety. Can we just have like a driving ticket?
Okay, the very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm missing something here.
Because if I'll pay any driving ticket, a parking ticket, anything.
Okay, Gabby,
If that'd be better.
try to calm down, and I'm going to go call a supervisor. But I don't think that there's much I can do. But let me see if the supervisor can tell me something I'm missing to make this not happen.
I can't feel over it. I couldn't handle that. I'm sorry.
Just give me a minute, okay? You don't have to sit out in the hot sun unless you want. Okay.
now let's explore why she doesn't want to be separated from him. Why is she getting such anxiety from wanting to be separated from him? One could argue, well, this is all a misunderstanding. We're all, just because she ended up unalived, that we're just focusing all the blame based on all the circumstances, and maybe Brian didn't do anything. Some people might be saying that or thinking that, watching this footage, right? But I mean, no, I'm not there. All of the other circumstances are telling me that this is the misunderstanding, because what I'm seeing here, because I'm talking about the lawyering up to the not cooperating with law enforcement, to disappearing, all of those things, what has led us all here now, all of those things, to me, make me think that this footage and what's going on here is where the misunderstanding truly is. Because why? Now, recently, I was covering a case where I said I wasn't going to talk about it anymore, so I won't mention any names, but I will say that if you were watching, I went over a deposition and we listened to some 911 calls, right? And there was clearly somebody in the background being very abusive, but the 911 caller was afraid of him leaving. And that's the only reason I'm bringing this up. The 911 caller was afraid of him leaving. And the reason why she was so like, and it was clear that this person, the person she was calling 911 about, was very aggressive, screaming at children, saying the mother is a WHORE, and she's having basically a panic attack, the way Gabby here's having a panic attack, and saying, I'm afraid of him leaving. I'm afraid of him leaving. So it seems like she was very, very emotionally codependent on him, and which is very common with abuse victims. Their aggressor manipulates the victim into being emotionally codependent on them. Well, I'm going to leave and you're never going to see me again. But in Brian's case, she's reported to have been afraid. Gabby has been reported to be afraid of him leaving her, taking the van and leaving her somewhere. So it sounds to me, based on this, because the officer said, you're going to keep the van. And it's possible that she didn't catch that. It's possible that she wasn't listening to that part and trying to process the fact that she was about to get charged with a crime and she wasn't understanding why. So there's that possibility. But if she did understand the fact that she got to keep the van and she wasn't afraid of him taking off with the van and leaving her behind, what she was afraid of was not actually the van being taken from her and her being left to fend for herself, but she was afraid of having this person that she is so emotionally dependent on of being separated from. She was afraid of being separated from this person. So that's very interesting to me. Okay, Coda. Coda's going to get comfortable. Are you good? Are you good? Oh, you can see the empowerment on his face in his
tiny
actions.
Little girl,
you can
22
see
years old, slapped her boyfriend, her fiance, several times. He's got a little bit of a little tiny abrasion on his chin, on his jaw. They got into a van and drove off. He got called in by two different. Well, there's one caller and then a witness. Got them stopped. The story from the witnesses matches the story from the female, matches the story to the male. She was pissed off. She's having a rough day. He tries to separate from her. She's not staying away from him. She has severe anxiety problems. He locks her out of the van and says, you need to go for a walk and cool off.
Now, this is him on the phone with his supervisor, okay? This is him on the phone with his supervisor trying to explain what happened and what should I do. Let's listen if he actually mentions whether or not he grabbed her face so hard that it left marks on her. Because I wonder if the supervisor would have said something different if he had this information.
She's forcing her way into the van. She's clawing her way past him into the van to be with him. He's shoving her to get her out of the van, but he's not assaulting her or he's not assailing her. He's trying to keep her out. She's punching, slapping, everything. She's got to be 105 pounds soaking wet, 22, full of anxiety, having a really tough time. Not making excuses, but I mean, it is written into code. We do have a domestic assault here. He's not wanting to pursue it. He's very adamant. He does not want to pursue it. We're explaining we don't have any discretion on these things. We're giving him a no contact. We're letting Sea Cave and see if they can get him a hotel so she can have the van so that we don't have to put her in jail. She's really struggling.
Now, unless he goes, oh, wait, I forgot to tell you, then he skipped it.
With the idea of being alone and not with him and not having the van. They want to be together. I told her, look, there's not anything I can do. This is all written into freaking statute. I just said, the last thing I can do is call a supervisor and see if where this is such a minor, it was like a slap fight and the injury is from a fingernail. I just don't know if it's worth the whole domestic thing or not, or if it's going to get some trouble if we don't do it this way.
You're right. He didn't mention that either.
Well, they don't want to, but I told them that unless I get some kind of permission some other way, I'm pretty sure this is just statute and that we have to separate you. As far as the domestic assault charge, what do you think about that?
And why did he have her phone?
Well, I mean...
Now, is it possible? Is it possible that something happened prior? Is it possible that something happened prior? She threatened to call the cops and he took her phone from her so she wouldn't, or she threatened to call somebody to tell them. Why did he want her phone? Why are we not asking that question? Why did Brian want her phone to the point that they were fighting about her phone? It's her phone.
Do the whole thing or not? But is there a way to not do anything on something like this? I mean, it's so minor. It's hard to say, right? I'm going to go reread the statute and just see if it fits or if there's a way it doesn't fit. And if I can...
Like, at least these cops don't want to do this. You know what I mean? At least they don't want to. Like... Yeah, we're going to get to that. I wonder if we're missing that because he could be in the car right now while he's actually showing that phone, but he does pull out a phone. In that first body cam footage, we heard him on this body cam footage say he didn't have a phone, right? Neither one of them have a phone, he said. We don't have a phone. And then he pulled out a phone from his pocket later on. Now, that might not be in this footage, though.
Find a way that, because it really is this, the spirit of the law is being lost on this one. It really is.
Well, it goes to show you how minor
else separate.
Because look where we are now, guys. It goes to show you how minor this was not, because somebody ended up dead.
And whether she likes it or not. All right, thanks. All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, and she had her phone in her hand too. Exactly, Cherry. And they didn't find that weird that he lied about that? I thought you didn't have a phone. I thought she didn't have a phone. So it's not like they're sharing a phone either, because she has her phone in her hand and he has a phone that he pulls out later on from his pocket, which shows how comfortable he is at this point. He's like, oh, this is all good. This is all good.
Bodily injury means physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition.
Did you see her do that?
So let's see.
But he said that neither one of them had a
ill.
phone.
He doesn't have an impairment of physical condition. And
yet they said that they were fighting over a phone.
Like how?
So, yeah, I know. That's all weird to me. Cherry. That's all very, very hinky, as a Chicago native would call it.
Okay. How far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there? It's there to protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail. And then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed. Mm-hmm. In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man?
Right. Oh, God, that makes me so mad to hear that. Now, also, what's crazy to me is it could also, if these guys wanted to be a-holes, well, what they could have also done is looked at the fact that she didn't want to be separated as, okay, well, you know, he's just trying to get away from her, but she wants to be possessive over him, and she wants her claws in him, you know. So luckily they didn't factor that in and look at it that way, but they could have. They absolutely could have. They could have twisted that. They could have been like, this girl's being real manipulative, being cute, crying, blah, blah, blah. They could have totally went that route, but they didn't. What they're doing here is they're going, this just doesn't seem like a serious enough incident, which, like I said, if we look at the results and why we're here today, they're clearly wrong. Because no matter, obviously, the fact that we're here today, under the circumstances that we're here under, prove that that was not a minor incident. That no matter how minor an incident seems, somebody could end up dead. And somebody did in this case.
But then again, I don't have a crystal ball. So I was looking at talking to the assistant chief to see if there's any way to just go less than than the full force domestic assault route.
Right.
And he says, look, I mean, you either go all the way or you don't. And it's like, okay, but under what circumstances can I not? And really the only time I cannot is if it doesn't fit. If it fits, then it's in the law, then you have to do it.
Nobody's denying that, Bobby Pin. Nobody's denying that. What I'm saying is
this is an assault.
The smallest incident could lead to a larger one. If these people are getting to the whole point, let me make this point, Bobby. The whole point that I'm making is, if you get to a point to where you're putting your hands on each other, you need to not be together, because it could get way worse. No matter how minor one incident seems, the next incident could end up being a lot worse. And that's exactly what took place here.
To look it up and read it word for word, especially when what you're doing is going to get evaluated by.
All right, I'm going to repeat this one more time.
Who cares a lot about?
I'm going to repeat this one more time. What could the cops do? They failed. This is where I'm at, because they failed to acknowledge all the details. Remember, we explored before he got on the phone with his supervisor. We explored whether or not it should be considered that he grabbed her face so hard that he left marks, that should be factored into their decision here, right? And he went to go give the details to his supervisor, and he seemed to just be tired of being there, and he just went through whatever and basically painted the narrative that he had already convinced of himself, that she was the aggressor, she hit him, and that's it, right? But he absolutely failed to tell his supervisor that, in my opinion, being a crucial detail. Because if I'm the supervisor, well, wait a minute. You know, if I'm the supervisor, I'm guessing I got probably some detective skills, and I'm going to be like, well, look, man, you know, why did he grab her face? And you saying that she told you that he grabbed your face after you asked her whether or not he slapped her. And then she claimed that the marks on her face was from him grabbing her. So either he slapped her, which means he hit her, or he grabbed her face so hard that it left marks. And that is an act of aggression. That is not an act of defense. So I wonder if that supervisor would have came to that conclusion had that detail not be left out by this officer calling his supervisor asking, and it could have slipped his mind. But whether or not it slipped his mind, he failed. He failed to meet his responsibility as an officer, because he said, let me go give the details to my supervisor and see what they say. Now, his intention was to just try to get her out of it. He did not want to do this. He did not want to change her life in a negative way. But this is why I get mad when we cover real crime cases and I see a lazily written police report. That's what happens to me. I get annoyed when I see a lazily written police report because I'm wondering how many details are being left out. And clearly, that one particular detail, I think, personally, is crucial to this scenario in explaining it to a supervisor, to an officer in a supervisory position asking them, what should I do here? Exactly. Well said, Island Girl. Exactly. Terry, don't try me.
About words. Words are there for a reason. Assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. So did she attempt to do bodily injury to him?
She went to smack him.
Was it her intention to do him bodily injury? Now, that's what we have to find out, because it says bodily injury is,
Okay.
by definition, physical pain.
Not to beat a dead horse, because I don't think it's a dead horse, because it applies here. While they're talking, we're talking. Now, did he grab her face with the intent to cause bodily harm, or did he grab her face in order to push her away? Because a girl that small, it wouldn't take that much force. So did he grab her face with the intent to inflict bodily harm? Because I think the marks on her face indicate yes.
Illness or any impairment of physical condition.
Well, he's got a swollen.
Any impairment of physical
Right,
I don't
condition.
care what
Marks
the
on
result
the
was, we
face.
care about
Any
the
impairment
intent.
of physical condition.
If she did not intend to cause him pain or illness or to cause him impairment of physical condition.
Was it intent and attempt?
What's going on in my chat? Hold on a second. Yeah, for real. Like, Cherry K's been throwing, Cherry K and all my other mods been throwing trigger warnings in the chat. If you can't handle what we're talking about, then this isn't the place for you. Okay? Nobody's okay. Now you done got me going. Now you done pissed me off. Okay? Because right here, this comment right here implies that I'm implying in some way, shape, or form that it's the police officer's fault that Gabby is no longer with us. And in no way, shape, or form at any given time did I imply that. And I am offended by your ignorance. Because I don't think that you necessarily are trying to attack me. I don't think that you're being malicious. So I'm not offended by you being malicious, because you're not being malicious, but you are offending me and the rest of my listeners with your ignorance, because you're being ignorant. I'm not saying you're being stupid. I'm not saying you're being dumb. I'm saying you're being ignorant, meaning the act of ignoring, not listening, selective hearing is what you are engaged in right now. Because in no way, shape, or form did I ever imply that it is their fault what happened to Gabby. So either leave or enjoy the chat and get along with everybody and listen. And if you can't listen, then don't comment. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. So I'm telling you right now, if you keep it going, and my mods are less patient than I am, I'm telling you right now. And by the way, that brings me to another point real quick off the subject here. We're going to take a little break from this video. But I have recently made the decision, because I get some people sometimes, some people sometimes they say, oh, we're cool and I like you, Glairer, and, but I'm hidden on your channel and, I'm real sorry. And could you unhide me from your channel? That happens all too often. Do you have any idea how tedious it is for me to go through all the names that I have hidden, because I've pissed a lot of people off over in the last 3.5 years? So I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm going to make it abundantly clear here on a live stream right now that if you get hidden from this channel, That's it. So real simple. Don't act stupid in my chat and you won't get hidden. Okay? But once you get hidden, that's it. Because I'm not going to go out of my way and put in all this work and spend God knows how long it takes for me to go through all the names that I have hidden, because I have a lot, looking for your name, a needle in a haystack, because you finally had an epiphany and went, oh, you know what? Maybe I was kind of a dick in Claire's chat. No. You got one, you're an adult. You have one chance to realize how to behave and conduct yourself in my chat. And if you don't, you're out. And I'm never, ever going to go through the trouble of bringing you back. My days of doing that are completely over. So I want that to be made very, very clear. And it's going to take a lot for you to get hidden from my chat. You'll get warned. My mods are nice and they'll warn you. But if it gets, and I got no problem hiding people. So you'll be warned. If you can't conduct yourself, then you won't be welcome here. And it's just that simple.
When you're attempting to do something, you have to intend to do it. If I attempt to get a basketball through a hoop, I have to intend to do it. Intent is implicit with attempt.
Right.
Okay, so what was her intent?
It's a bad analogy. What if I'm trying to hit the backboard so it bounces back to me so I can jump up and dunk it, but when I hit the backboard, it goes in the basket? Did I intend for it to go in the basket? No, bro.
If you go ask her, what was your intention when you were slapping him, and she says, I wanted him to hurt or be ill or impair his physical condition, then there's nothing we can do.
Okay.
One way to word it might be, hey, when you slapped him, were you intending to cause him physical pain? And let's get rid of illness because that has nothing to do with it. Physical pain or impairment of his physical condition. Was that your intention? Is that what you were attempting to do? That's what it says right here, an attempt.
Right.
Were you attempting to cause him pain or an impairment of physical condition? Whatever she answers to that question will seal her fate. Because the only way you know what she was attempting to do is by asking her.
Right.
We all hate it, Mermaid. We all hate this, you know?
Set it up right. Set it up just right.
That's how people actually answer that way.
Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you.
See, they're trying to get her off this with with a technicality. They're holding her hand and walking her through her way out of this.
Answer the question. Do not quickly answer it. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him?
No.
What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me to calm down.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
Can't say that I admired her. She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. He said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she grabbed her. I might have this too mixed up.
Yeah, but that's you can't. Yeah, you don't get that. That's a double standard, and let me explain why. Because I get what you're saying there, Empress Place. You know, she didn't slap for no reason. Okay, she didn't slap for no reason. Now that's the same. That's no different than saying that a woman provoked a man and then he hit her, and then that makes it understandable. I mean, let's be honest. Let's not split hairs here. You can't have it both, one way and not the other. It's just not the way things work. It's never okay to put your hands on anybody. So now and I'm not defending Brian here. I'm speaking generally. In any general domestic DV situation. I'm just saying, you can't make that excuse for her and then say that, and then turn around and not make the same excuse for a man in that situation. You know what I mean? Which I'm saying you can't make that excuse for either one. That's where I'm at.
He probably looked at her, and that's why the mark is on the window side. And she said it's her fault that he swerved because she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him. It wasn't malicious. She thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go. Now, I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision.
Well, I mean, their parents aren't suspect of anything for what we know.
Let's do this. Taking your advice, let me do a crime report on this. Won't charge right now. Won't cite her for it right now. We'll send it off to the county attorney, city attorney. Send it off to the city attorney, let them screen it and make a decision.
If you send it to the city attorney and they strongly disagree with your decision and they throw a complete fit, you might hear about it in a very negative way.
All right.
So I would make a decision yourself.
I'd rather be dinged for a decision I made than a decision I didn't make.
Especially if they think you were completely negligent in your decision. Why give it to them? The only reason to give it to them is if you're not sure if you have enough.
Yeah, if you can't make a simple decision as an officer, you can't use your judgment as an officer, then why would you?
Whatever we need to do, all the way down to. Go ahead.
That's definitely one issue. I agree with you there, Kim. I mean, that's one of many reasons why DV happens, but
Would you feel more comfortable handling that guy?
Yeah.
That's a drop in a sea of reasons why DV happens.
If you're more comfortable.
Well, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
It's up to you.
I mean, it's a headache whether I go left or it's a headache whether I go right.
Another option is to not charge them but separate them for the night. If they find themselves together again, what is it to you? You separated them. You provided for his safety. If he doesn't have enough sense to stay away and you got him separated, it's on him.
Yeah, babysit them all night unless I have anything else. So it's up to them and how good I
You can separate them and say, don't let this go off till tomorrow. If they don't let it go off and we hear about it, we'll hear about it.
They're camping in the park tonight.
Oh, you're gonna hear about it, all right.
Fighting going on.
You're definitely gonna hear about it, guys.
You already gave him a chance.
Because the worst possible outcome took place.
Someone and say, if we hear from you again, we're going to arrest one of you. Because then, if one of them really needs help, they may not call police and get help. The law says you cannot. Literally, you may not say, if we get more problems with you guys tonight, one of you is going to jail. You can't threaten them like that. If it's true, because it will stop someone from wanting to call the police to get help. Does that make sense? All right. So go full or nothing or in between and separate.
And
them.
how often do cops do that?
Stay separated.
Where he's saying you can't tell them, well, if you don't get along, if you guys can't get along, then one of you is going to jail, right? like, and he's saying that the reason why you can't do that is because then one of them, it could cause either one of them to be afraid to call the police, right? So that's why you can't say that to them. But how many times did you watch Cops and hear a cop tell somebody that, right? How many DV calls did you see on Cops where they, pretty much every one of them almost, right? I mean, so this guy seems pretty well versed in the law. You know, he seems to be really, really, yeah. And these guys seem to be they seem to be younger. He seems to be more experienced. They seem to be younger. He said he was 39 years old. He's got a daughter about Gabby's age. This guy's got some experience in life.
It's up to you. I'm going to go handle that. You got very capable help with you here, and I trust you. All right. Call me if you have any problems. SOTTA, I'll separate. I'll be en route to that intoxicated now. I just want to say thank you guys for helping us. Appreciate you. You too.
I mean, that's it. Yeah, so that's pretty infuriating. Knowing what the outcome turned out to be, I'm quite irritated with having seen that from that other perspective, because we just heard now seeing this guy's body cam footage and him talking to Gabby directly. You know, he knew that a witness said that he hit her, and he did investigate it, and she explained, she said, he grabbed my face. That's why these marks are here. That's what she said. He grabbed my face, and that's why I have these marks. And at no point did this officer or any of the other officers, none of the other officers even acknowledged, or at least the other officer from the first body cam footage never even acknowledged that she had marks on her in the first place. And he almost seemed intent on taking her to jail or charging her with something. He seemed like he wanted to do it. But this guy was like, I don't know about all that. Let's pump the brakes here, and let's look into this. I'm going to call my supervisor. I'm going to look up the statute, everything. And he did all that, but where he seriously dropped the ball, in my personal opinion, is he failed to give that detail. He failed to acknowledge and think about, okay, when she said, no, he grabbed my face. Well, then I'd be like, well, he grabbed your face so hard that it left marks. He failed to do that. Because obviously, if somebody grabs your face so hard that it leaves marks, that is clearly an act of aggression, in my opinion. That is clearly an act of aggression. So it just bothers me that this officer didn't put that together and say, okay, well, either he slapped you hard enough to leave a mark, or he grabbed your face hard enough to leave a mark, which tells me this dude was mad. He was angry. And then where he really dropped the ball, because he was really trying to figure out a way out of this for her, was when he went to talk to his supervisor, he left that detail out. So the supervisor's obviously going to go, well, we've got a law to follow. It's what we do. Got to follow the law. She's the aggressor. So that supervisor just didn't know that happened. But that officer did. And it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Now, and I've said this before, this is ironic. This is very, very ironic. There's a very, very sad irony to this. Is if they had taken one of them to jail, if one of them actually went to jail, if this were a case where those cops actually wanted to be jerks and they wanted to abuse their power, this could have actually saved her life. I'm not saying it would have, but it may have. That's crazy to me. And no, I'm not implying that it's their fault that Gabby is no longer with us. I'm not implying that. I'm saying it's a very, very strange string of events that lead me to think that, man, you know, because they had no idea this was going to happen. Their hearts were in the right place, or at least the cop with the body cam footage that we're watching now, his heart was definitely in the right place, it seemed like. He was trying to help her. He wanted to help her. And if you watch the other body cam footage, well, no, I mean, it was there too. Sorry. But yeah, he was basically saying, you know, I mean, I just, you know, I'm not with this. I'm not comfortable with this. You know, she's 110 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, okay, but yeah, but I mean, you know, um, what's another thing that bothers me? I'm thinking out loud, so I may feel stupid after I say this because you know, but I'm thinking about it now, and I'm thinking, why? So they didn't know that the van was hers, right? Because I've always thought that the reason why they left her with the van was because it was hers. I just assumed that. They knew that the van was hers, and that's why they left her with the van, put him in a hotel. Okay, but because he is considered the victim in the situation, and that is you know, but they could have, I mean, you know, because they came to the conclusion that again, I'm thinking out loud here, guys, but they came to the conclusion that they weren't actually going to file anything, right? They were just going to separate them for the night. And then they still used the program to put him in a hotel. So if they didn't actually file anything, why didn't they give them the option of, hey, dude, right? Why don't you stay in the van, put the girl in the hotel, you know, like be a gentleman, you know what I mean? And why didn't he speak up and say, well, I'll just put her, you know what I mean? So I'm going to put that one on Brian. I'm going to put that one on Brian, because if they explained the situation to him and said, okay, well, all we're going to do is separate you, but we could put one of you in a hotel, since we're not filing anything, since we're not going to report or charge anybody with anything, then, you know, and they assumed it was his van anyway. So why would they leave her out in the van? Why wouldn't they present the option of, you know, if you wanted to, you could step up and let her take the hotel and you sleep out in the van, since you were so adamant about sleeping out in your sleeping bag just to be this gentleman or whatever, which it wasn't just to be a gentleman. Well, Dizzy Lizzy, yeah, but they investigated when they got there. They talked to witnesses, and one of the witnesses says that he didn't see Brian hit her, right? Because he spoke to that witness on the scene and then got that witness's number and then called the witness back. So they did follow up. They made a very, very conscious effort to follow up and dig to the bottom of and get to the truth. They actually did do this, but they just failed at it, unfortunately. You know, So, they weren't there. They have to go by what all of the corroborating stories are saying. And not only are 3 out of 4 stories corroborating, but her story corroborates out of those 3. Her story says the same thing. And what that says is that looks like a confession to the police. That's how that comes off, as a confession to law enforcement. So that's how they made up their mind. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I'd like to know. That's actually a great question. Well, right. But seeing as they actually didn't file anything, they didn't file a protective order or anything like that, then why wasn't she given the opportunity to go to the hotel? And would she have even taken the opportunity, since she was afraid of being left behind and him taking the van? All right. Good night, Kimmy71. Yeah, that's also a great question. Why didn't they run the plates of the registration? Did they even ask them for ID? At any point, did they say, "Can I see your ID? Can I see your driver's license and registration?" At no point do I remember them doing that. So that's probably one of the reasons why they were reprimanded. But yeah, man, yeah. Well, they never filed anything, Louisiana girl. To my understanding of that footage is that they just separated them. They were still able to do the outreach thing because maybe the outreach, the shelter thing doesn't require a protective order. Maybe. Oh, I appreciate you, Mark, and thank you so much for the super sticker, buddy. Yeah, maybe maybe they don't require that, but as far as I know, that was the conclusion that all the police officers agreed on was, okay, we don't actually have to file, we don't have to do all this. No, she didn't have intent to hurt him. And so since she didn't have intent to hurt him, then we can actually get out of having to charge her. Because she sat there and begged, she said, "Can't you just give me a ticket or something?" And so he said, "Let me see what I can do." But he took control of the situation after he got on the phone with the supervisor. It wasn't what he wanted to hear. He was like, "You know what? I'm going to look up the statute." Because hearing from his supervisor wasn't good enough. He was intent on trying to help her. And then when the supervisor hung up the phone, he was like, "Let me look up the statute." He looks up the statute, and the statute says that assault is with the intent of causing physical harm to another person, and yada yada. But so he explores that, like, okay, if we can get out of this, if I can ask her if she intended on hurting him, and he was like, real careful how you answer this. He held her hand through it pretty much, and he was like, just be real careful how you answer this, right? So he was trying to get her out of it. I don't know, Louisiana girl. I don't know. Yeah, that's the common question. So what I'm going to do here, do something real quick. So my boy Josh with the Dad Challenge podcast, he made a little video here today. So I'm going to close with that. Josh, the Dad Challenge podcast, the founder of Real Crime. I'm going to go ahead and share that. Make sure you like and subscribe to Josh. I just hit skip ads, bro. This thing is very difficult.
This is the timeline of the Gabby Petito homicide case. On July 2nd, the van life road trip began for Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. They left from New York after Gabby attended her brother's high school graduation. They decided after taking a previous road trip last year in their small Nissan, this was going to be a trip that they documented on Instagram and YouTube. Along the journey, they stopped at Kansas Monument Rocks, July 5th. July 8th, their next stop was Colorado Springs. And July 10th, Petito updated her Instagram with photos of her walking at Grand Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado. One of the other stops was Bryce Canyon National Park, Utah. Petito posted a photo relaxing in a hot tub here at Mystic Hot Springs, Utah. On August 10th, witnesses met Gabby and Brian near Moab, where they chatted for about 40 minutes. The witness and his girlfriend then set off on a hike to the Delicate Arch. When they returned to the parking lot, Gabby and Laundrie were gone. On August 12th, at the Moonflower Community Cooperative in Moab, Utah, a call was made to local law enforcement where the caller described a man hitting a woman in the parking lot by the Moonflower Community Cooperative.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate, white land. We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Later that afternoon, Gabby and Brian are pulled over by the Moab police and questioned for over an hour. Bodycam footage shows both of them being separated and questioned. The police file no charges, and Brian and Gabby are separated. Brian to a hotel, Gabby is given the keys to the van to spend the night apart. This is one of the most important keys to this case. A lot of people have come forward to share their story of reactionary abuse, which means that Brian was the abuser. And here in this video, you can see him laughing it up with the police while Gabby is in the car, shaking and crying with what appears to be a hand mark on her arm. Brian also has some injuries that they document before they send them off. On August 13th, Brian Laundrie posted an Instagram photo from their next destination in Moab. This is the last Instagram post from Brian. August 17th, Laundrie supposedly returns to Florida via airplane to move their things out of storage. He returns August 23rd. Some reports say he moved stuff into storage, and some say he moved them out of the storage. On August 19th, Gabby posts the van life to their Nomadic Static YouTube channel, which to this date has over 5 million views. August 24th is the last known sighting of Gabby alive. The couple were seen checking out of the Fairfield Inn in Salt Lake City, Utah. On August 25th, Gabby's family spoke to her for the last time over the phone. She said she was in Grand Teton National Park. There were no more calls past this point. This is when the Instagram post went up from the Monarch Wall in Ogden, Utah. On August 26, Hunter Mannies claims on TikTok that him and Brian had an encounter at Bullwinkle's in Yellowstone. Hunter claims that on the way out, his wife got, quote, serial killer vibes. On August 27th at 1 p.m., Nina Selly recalls on TikTok seeing Brian and Gabby at Mary Piglet's grill. She talks about how they are kicked out of Mary Piglet's, they're causing a scene, and these witnesses come forward after the case goes viral to talk about their experience. On August 27th at 6:30, Red, White, and Bethune, a YouTube RV channel, sees Gabby's van on the side of the road in Spread Creek Dispersed, and then post it for everybody to see. There is some speculation that when they drove up to the van, the door closed at the back. August 27th, text message. Gabby texts mom, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." Stan is her grandfather. On August 29th, Miranda Baker says in her TikTok video that they picked up Brian at Coulter Bay Village, hitchhiking north. She alleged that Laundrie had confessed to camping at an unregulated site in the national park in the middle of nowhere along Snake River. He was dropped off at the Jackson Dam after confusion. He was really worried about going more north. He assumed they were going east, and when they continued north, he got worried and got out. He was also picked up at Jackson Dam by another driver and dropped at Spread Creek at the front entrance. The driver offered to drive him all the way to the van, but Brian panicked and got out of the vehicle while it was still moving. On August 29th, elk hunters also spot the van at Spread Creek Dispersed that evening. August 30th, text from Gabby to mom. No service in Yosemite.
No real
On
crime,
September 1st,
Jerry.
Brian Laundrie
Real
returns home to Florida alone, according to his parents. Then they retain an attorney, but we don't know when. And they are uncooperative in the investigation into Gabby. Neighbors claim to have seen Brian Laundrie on the 1st, and the van was also seen on a license reader at 10:30 a.m. entering Northport. On September 1st to 3rd, Laundrie's parents had camping reservations at Fort DeSoto and then canceled them on August 31st. September 6th to 7th, Brian and his parents check into the waterfront campsite number 1 in Fort DeSoto, and then all leave
Nope,
on the
just real
7th,
crime.
according to the attorney.
Just real crime.
September 10th, Gabby's mother texts Brian Laundrie and his mother, trying to get in touch with Gabby, but neither reply. The family alerted the National Park Service. September 10th, Gabby's dad contacts law enforcement. September 11th, Gabby's family reports her missing, 7 p.m. To be continued. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Brian Laundrie, please contact your local law enforcement or 1-800-CALL-FBI.
The whereabouts. All right, guys, that's it. I'm looking forward to part 2 of that. I'm going to go ahead and call it, guys. I love you guys very, very much. And thank you guys for all your support. Make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And we will do this again very, very soon, my friends.